All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this Friday morning. Excuse me, it's not afternoon yet. I've got a busy day. I wanted to get a video out today, just to. It's right before the Christmas holidays. It is December 10th, 2021. My gosh, we are going to be into 2022 in the blink of an eye. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you had a great turkey holiday. I think I've already said that in the last video. But anyway, big shout out to all of the drive-thru RPGers that have been using my affiliate code. Thank you so much. Big shout out to WikiSnapper for including my affiliate code on his site for his equipment guide for low fantasy gaming. If you haven't picked that up yet, do yourself a favor. It is awesome. It'll fit into any 3.5 5e D&D-esque game, Pathfinder, any game, any fantasy game, low fantasy, high fantasy, medieval game. It's phenomenal. It's really well done. Goblin Scribe as well with his advanced class guide book as well. Pick that up on Drive-Thru RPG as well. It's amazing. Low Fantasy Gaming, Low Life 2090, all done by Pickpocket Press. Do yourself a favor, pick those up. They are all phenomenal. And of course, if you're going to buy them on Drive-Thru RPG, why not use my affiliate code? Help Mr. Mean out, help grow the Meanie Army. Also, as well, hit that like and or subscribe if you find this content useful and or entertaining. It really helps out the YouTube algorithms and helps the Mr. Mean channel. So thank you so much. Not that out of the way. Happy Friday. I got my Uncle Louie local restaurant here in Duluth. Got my coffee mug because it's my favorite colors. Cheers to you. Hope everyone is doing well. Today's RPG video du jour. This is brought to me by Miguel Warlock Patreon, a staunch friend of the channel. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Oh my God, it's been forever. He hooked me up with a really nice microphone for when we were doing live plays, and we will get back to using those and using that microphone again as once I get moved into my new house, probably sometime towards middle of next year. This house is just not conducive to set it up and do it. But thanks to Miguel, and again, sir, thank you so much. Words cannot express enough. I'm going to take these off. Words cannot express enough my gratitude for your patronage of the channel and being a staunch supporter of the Meanie Army. Thank you so much, sir. Miguel is just a super awesome guy, and I was looking at the Dark Matter Kickstarter about a year ago, and I was playing Esper Genesis at the time, running it online on Foundry, and we were having a good time. Me and my fellow players, and I was looking for something more because unfortunately Alligator Alley's release schedule for Esper Genesis was very lacking, to say the least. They've gotten a little bit better, but I think the GM's book is still not out, but they did just come out with the threats database and the I think it's the mechanics book. I don't physically have a copy. Rich Lescoufleur, the designer behind it, was nice enough to give me a PDF review copy, which I will review on the channel here pretty soon. I got so much backlog of stuff, guys. It's not even funny. Gamehole Con was not good for my wallet, let me tell you. But anyway, Rich was super awesome. The threats database is gorgeous, and we'll do separate reviews of those later. But needless to say, I played 5th edition. Everybody on the channel knows I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like the mechanics. It's a fine game. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad it's in my collection. I have several of the books up there. I'm especially a fan of the Kobold Press. So knowing that, and Miguel watching my channel like he does, and commenting on a lot of my videos, he went ahead and backed Dark Matter in my name. As to support the channel, to give me something to review. And at the time, I was looking at it, and I don't remember why I didn't back it. I backed it at $1 just so that I could keep access to it, and then maybe when the Pledge Manager opened up, I could look and see what they had and if anything interested me. And then Miguel had reached out to me and said, hey, I backed this for you. You're getting a copy of the rule book. And so lo and behold, the rule book came the other day. I went and picked it up. It was delivered to my old office. I still work for the same company, but I've changed positions. I'm no longer in IT. I am now a warehouse manager. And so I don't work at that office anymore. I work in Superior now. I don't work in Duluth. And so, but it's our main corporate office. And so the receptionist there was nice enough to notify me that I had a package, and I came and got it. So lo and behold, it was Dark Matter. So I'm going to look at my notes here. Oops. What happened? Oh, I locked my computer. Look at that. I'm a big dummy. There we go. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you hit your keyboard. So, pardon me, man. I'm not awake yet, guys. I need more coffee. Pardon me while I imbibe the nectar of life. Good to the last drop. So, Dark Matter is by Mage Hand Press. It's 294 pages, full color. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is $49.99. It is hardback. First printing was August of 2019, so that's when they did the Kickstarter, I believe, in Miguel. I think it was August, so late 2019. It rolled into 2020, and then it wrapped up, and then a year later, 2021. Now we've got our book. Lead designer was Michael Hollick. And then we're going to go into the review here. So like I said, came with a nice ribbon, so you can mark your page. Full color front, I do like the front. And the back has, a little blurb on the back, your barcode. I got to remember everything's reversed. So what I did is you'll see the yellow tabs on here. So dive into science fiction for the world's greatest role-playing game. Obviously, they're talking about D&D. Is it the world's greatest role-playing game? No. Is it the world's oldest role-playing game? I would say, yeah, I would give it that title. I wouldn't give it the greatest because I think there's much better games out there. But that's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. This book is beautiful. I'm going to start that by saying I am super happy to have this in my collection. And again, just a ginormous thank you to Miguel, Warlock patron, for buying this for me. He spent his hard-earned money. So anytime that happens, you're always hard-pressed when you have to say negative things, because someone spent their hard-earned money thinking that, hey, Mr. Mean's going to like this. And I do like it as an art book, as an aesthetics. Do I like it as a game? No, I don't. I spent the week reading it. I highlighted a couple things that I feel is wrong with the book. I get why they went the way they did. You're toting a fine line with Wizards of the Coast when you're making a game in their sandbox. And I kind of wish they'd have gone the way that Esper Genesis went. And I'm going to say this right now. Esper Genesis is the gold standard in 5th edition sci-fi role-playing. And the reason I say that is because Esper Genesis is not just dwarves and elves in space with a sci-fi veneer, and it's still D&D. It is completely different, has a completely different magic system. I mean, it all still works the same. It's 5th edition. When you sit down and you read that book, it will make total sense to you. Now, so will this. This is written very well. The thing I don't like is they didn't include, fighter, paladin, things like that. They didn't include level charts. You're supposed to refer back to the player's handbook. So I'm playing a sci-fi game and you want me to go reference a fantasy game book. So now you've just pulled me and my players out of the immersion, because now I'm opening up the player's handbook, which is an awesome book. I own 2 copies of it, as a matter of fact. I have the collector's edition and I have the regular edition that you bought off the shelf at your local store. So that being said, obviously I like it for what it is, but I don't like it when a book yanks me out of the immersion. And the nice thing I'll say about Esper Genesis is you never, as a player, have to open up any of those other books. You only need the Esper Genesis books. Character creation, you can do it all from their book because they recreate the player's guide section. And I wish they would have done that in here. And they did it to a degree, but if you want to play a fighter and you need to know all the fighter's abilities, you have to go look into the player's handbook. and that just kind of it pulls me out. It's not a bad thing. I mean, because you've got the books already. You're going to have them in front of you, and if you're buying Dark Matter for 5th edition, you most likely have the Player's Handbook if you're a player, and if you're a GM, you have all those books. And the nice part is about being the GM, you've got that monster manual that you can use in here as well, because it all correlates. So there's, like I said, pros and cons. I just don't like it when a game sucks me out of the environment and makes me go look at a fantasy book when I'm supposed to be playing, sci-fi. But other than that minor niggle, I'm very pleased with it. It's a beautiful game. The art is not for me. It's very cartoony, and that's what these tabs are. These are a couple of pages to highlight some of the art. And some of the art is just downright amazing. But I'm going to start with the piece that I like the least. This piece of art, you're setting yourself up to be kind of a hard sci-fi game. And the previous art, let me... here's one of the first things. It's also the thing that's on the cover, is basically this big void dragon that is actually a space station, and that's an amazing piece of art, and then, you got a critter here, and I love this hexagonal background that they did, this theme. This goes throughout the book, that little background. So 9 out of 10 times when you see a piece of art, it will be on this like chocolate colored hexagonal like wallpaper. See, here's some of the races and some of the player characters, which that's fantastic art. I really like that. But there's another piece of art, very vibrant and very colorful, looks great. Let's see here. Here's our dwarves in space, and I don't care for that piece of art. I just don't. But that's me. Art is very subjective. You may find it, you love it. But here is the amoeboid, one of the races. And it's goofy. It's cartoony. It doesn't, now what are they supposed to do for an amoeboid? When you see the word amoeboid, you immediately think, the blob or something, amoeboidish. So obviously the art fits the description. I just don't like it. That's just me. The character is pretty neat as a race. If you're going to play this, it's pretty cool. There's a bunch of other races too. So they don't go too much into, like, they don't recreate the dwarf, the elf, the gnome. You have an amoeboid, an Avia Ra, which is basically a bird person, and I'll show you. I got a picture of that one, which right there is pretty badass. I got to admit, that's a pretty solid picture. But that could really fall out of any fantasy book, right? It doesn't really scream sci-fi to me. It just screams high fantasy for sure, but it doesn't scream sci-fi. Nautilids, which is basically just reminds me of Big Brother or whatever it was from the PlayStation game. I can't really think of it. Big Daddy, I think it was. But these are water-based fluid creatures that live in this suit, and if you puncture the suit, they start having a bad day. But they're perfectly set up to work in space and or deep sea underwater. So that's pretty cool. Then you got the orcs, and again, can't stand the picture. It's very kiddie, very just silly, in my opinion. I just don't like it. And then after the orc, we've got the Scathari, which are your generic insect people. Now they look more like they would be an evil race to me, but they have a strict set of rules. Now the one I do like a lot is the Vect. They are basically sentient androids, so think you're Warforged. They are really cool. And there's another cool picture in here where they're like changing out weapons and armor. My camera's going silly for a second here. Give it a second to focus. There we go. And then there's the Rothians, which I really like as well. And these are basically your Klingons. They are just angry, and they remind me of the creatures from Pitch Black, the early Vin Diesel movie, where they were afraid of the light. But few friends, many enemies is the tagline. So the Gadgeteers, the section starts, and the art, like I said, is absolutely beautiful. I get that glare off the screen. I apologize. So the art is fantastic. there is definitely no shortage of super awesome art in this book, for sure. Here's another cool piece of female character, and again that hexagonal, you know what I'm saying, background. So cool art, to say the least. Yeah, here's another the equipment section. So great one-page art. Really sticks out, kind of slaps you in the face. Says, "Look at me," which I like. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's the monster beginning of the monster section of Void Dragon or some sort of critter with a rocket coming at it, which doesn't look, or spaceship attacking it. And then I got a few more pieces here to show you, and I am just doing this. Yeah. So here's another piece of art. I got to put the book on the other way. So there you go. There's a piece of art, and then those are the monster stat lines. So just like in your D&D book, you got your stat lines. The character sheet is very reminiscent of 5th edition, but it's very well laid out. And again, here's some more of this cartoony art that it's cool. I like it, but it just doesn't sell it as a hard sci-fi game for me. But then, you got this piece of art on the other side, which, oh my God, scary. So I really need to get a second camera and do a top-down so I can flip through the book. I need to work on that. That might be something I try to do over the holidays. And here's the last piece of art I wanted to show you. Again, very cartoony. Nice piece of art, though. Great vivid colors, and I know the camera doesn't do it justice. And let me show you the character sheet. The one thing I do like about the back of the book is they gave you a lot of sketch concept art. There's like 4 pages of it, or 6 pages of it, one on each side, of just the sketch art of what they were doing to come up with the book, the concept art. And I think that's phenomenal. I think that's great. I like it when books do that. Give us a behind-the-scenes look at, how this book came about. So here's the basically your 5th edition character sheet for Dark Matter. And it's nice. It's very well laid out. There's 3 pages, plenty of room for stats and spells and everything like that. Yeah. Yep. Dark Matter engine class. So there's a starship sheet, and then that has all your abilities and everything for your ship. So ribbon, hardback, $50. It's a beautiful book, guys. Miguel, thank you so much for adding it to my collection, but it is just not the game for me. If I have my druthers, I'm gonna play Esper Genesis over this. And to be fair, we played Esper Genesis the other night just because we needed an off game because all of our Pathfinder players couldn't make it to my local homespun game that's here at my house. And didn't do it for me anymore. After playing Pathfinder and the 3-action economy and the choices and the options that you have in Pathfinder, playing D&D was just, it was frustrating. Couldn't move where we wanted to move, couldn't do what we wanted to do. It was just very, very frustrating as a player and as a GM. I was the GM. Now, to help facilitate that negative attitude, the adventure was poorly written. It was one of the free adventures off of their website, and it wasn't fleshed out very well, and the pace of the adventure was way off, and I had to ad-lib a lot of stuff that I didn't think I should have had to do. So it was it was the Basilisk Rendezvous, and it's a free adventure. You can get it off a drive-through. They just failed to, or I missed it, and I let someone else look at it, and they missed it too. So however they did it, it wasn't very well laid out, and we were just not happy with the adventure. It didn't play very well, and it left a lot of confusion, unfortunately. And what I mean by that is the players investigate the hold of the ship. They're asked, in the instruction of the adventure, they're to make a perception check to see if there's anything in the hold of the ship. And there's 2 things that are alive in the ship. There's an android, which is the whole point of their going there to that ship to find, and then there's a creature. There's a monster. It's called a scorpoid. It's basically a space scorpion, giant scorpion. And it jumps out and attacks them. But they don't tell you that until like 3 paragraphs later. And they're like, oh, and if the players go in here, the giant scorpoid jumps out, anybody with a passive perception of 13 or better sees it before it attacks. Then what was the point of the perception check, 3 paragraphs earlier? And, you didn't say if they, so it was just the timing and the way the adventure was written was poorly done. I think it was a rush to get it out so they could have an adventure out for Esper Genesis when the core book came out, which to play the game, all you need is the core book. But this review is not about Esper Genesis, although it kind of sounds like it, like a comparison, and I do apologize. But Dark Matter is beautiful. I love the presentation of the book. The quality of the book is nice. I am super happy to have it in my collection, but the races didn't grab me. The layout of the character classes, like, you want to play a ranger, because there's a ranger in there, but there's no chart to tell you, okay, at first level you get this, which is the foundation of D&D. That's when you play D&D, it's a level-based game, so having a chart, a graph, a chart of some kind to say, okay, at level 1 I get this, at level 2 I get that, at level 3 I get this. It's not in there. They're wanting you to refer to, from what I could tell, they want you to refer to the player's handbook, which is fine, because you probably, if you're a 5th edition player, you have that book sitting in your library, or you have a PDF of it, and you're ready to go. I just didn't. It did, and the thing is, this game is very well supported too. There's, excuse me. There's a PDF version that is, iPad, Android tablet print, friendly, EPUB friendly. There's cards, which I thought was amazing, which is why I almost went in, balls deep on this. I almost backed this at like the $200 level. And then I don't remember why I didn't, but I'm suspecting that after I looked at the free preview, it just didn't grab me. And on top of that, it's 5th edition. And for me to spend, $200 on a 5th edition Kickstarter, it's got to be amazing. And it didn't spark me. And I remember, now that I think about it a little harder, I did download the preview of it, and I was not, it didn't grab me enough. And I thought, okay, well, I'll back at $1 and see where it goes and see what they open up for it, and see what they do, and then maybe they'll change some stuff. And I don't want to say make it more like Esper Genesis, but bring it more in line with the way a sci-fi game should kind of look. So, and they didn't, from what I saw by the end of the Kickstarter. So I never put any more money into it. And then Miguel reached out to me and said, "Hey, I need your address. I backed this for you, and I hope you like it." And I do. I don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful. It's a beautiful book, and it's going to give me many hours of reading enjoyment, if nothing else, just for the fluff that's in the book, because there's quite a bit of it. And it's, like I said, the races are interesting. They're not necessarily choices I guess I like a little grittier, harder sci-fi than I don't like Starfinder either, so that should tell you right there where my proclivities lie. So it's a beautiful book. It's a great book to put on the coffee table, or if you're getting someone into 5th edition but you're more of a sci-fi fan, and you're an anime fan or something like that, or maybe younger kids, or people that just enjoy, your group of friends enjoys that more cartoony art style, then this is the game for you. And like I said, very well supported. A monster manual, there's cards. I believe they had spell cards, and they had threat cards or monster cards, with all that awesome art on it. So yeah, it's very well supported. There's a GM screen for it. I would hope Miguel would maybe post some pictures on our Discord of what he got, because I think he backed it at a higher level, and so hopefully he got the GM screen and everything, and he can show us what it looks like. That would be amazing. So that would segue into, if you're not on my Discord, please find a link down below in the doobly-doo for an open link to join my Discord, where we talk about all types of RPGs, what we like, what we don't like. It is a very friendly, open place to come chat about RPGs. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about the state of the world. We talk about RPGs. So if you want to come chit chat about RPGs, and then we have a couple hashtag sections, different variants. So we have one about PC and console games. So if you're like, right now I'm really into Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm trying to get to level cap before the new edition, the 7th edition comes out, or 7.0 update comes out, Legacy of the Sith, which I'll be streaming some of that this morning right after this video is done. We also have The Art is the Mini, because I'm an avid mini painter. You can probably see some of the stuff behind me. I haven't painted in quite a while, so I'm planning on breaking it out real soon and get to some more painting. I got new paints coming from this is the guy that I can't think of his name now, I'm drawing a blank. It's the guy that used to paint for Games Workshop, and then he split off and created his own channel and his own business and everything. And he's come out, he did a Kickstarter for his own line of paints. I have the Army Painter paints, and they just have not held up very well. A lot of them have become very thick and unusable, and I paid really good money for those paints. And I do like the Army Painter paints. It's just unfortunately that, sitting in their little eyedroppers, they haven't held up very well, and so I'm getting a new set of paints, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. So we have The Art is the Mini, where we talk about anything miniature game related. 40K, Necromunda, Malifaux is one of my all-time favorites. Frostgrave and Stargrave, and 5 Parsecs from Home. So any of those kind of miniature agnostic games, and or the big ones, 40K and fantasy and all that, come in and show us your paint jobs and everything. So it's a thriving Discord community. Highly recommend you come pop in. I do have a Patreon. It's $5 a month. I keep it simple. You get a designator on Discord that shows that you are a Patreon, and then every couple of months I do a drawing for a product that vendors have sent me or game designers have sent me, and then I do a random drawing, and then that person wins whatever it is, and I'll reach out to the Patreon member and I'll ask them for their address and ship it to them. So in fact, we're due for another one, so I'll probably be doing that maybe this weekend. So I think that's really it, guys. Hit me up on Patreon. I'm on PayPal, Pay Me. I'm on ZellyPay. You can send a donation via, or anything to help support the channel through ZellyPay, which if you're in the U.S., it's baked into your banking account, especially if you do online banking. What else? And as I said before, DriveThruRPG, I have an affiliate link. It'll be down in the doobly-doo, and you can click on that whenever you make a purchase for anything. I get a small kickback to the channel, which really helps me out because it allows me to buy more stuff and do reviews. So one of the upcoming reviews is the Entropic gaming system. They have a fantasy and a sci-fi. I'm on a kick for a good sci-fi game that's not uber crunchy and super complicated. And so I'm really looking forward to that. That should be in the mail. It's actually the fantasy version is in the mail, and I'm waiting for the sci-fi version. I don't believe they have a hardback version yet, or they do. It's just a little bit out of my price range. So I'm waiting for the prices to come down a little bit, or for them to have New Year's. They'll have another sale, and so I'll probably order it then. But the fantasy book is coming, and I will do a review of that. So that pretty much sums up everything. It is a Friday. It is a happy Friday. I'm going into my 3-day weekend. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We've got some more snow here, but it is gorgeous outside. I think we were in the -2s and 3s last week. This weekend it's warmed up a little bit. I think we're at 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's balmy here. It's nice. Shorts weather. So I hope that finds everybody well. I hope that review of Dark Matter helped you out. And give it a peek if it's something that interests you. It's unfortunately not my cup of tea, but it is very grateful for it to be in my collection. And again, a huge thank you to Miguel for purchasing it for Mr. Mean. Thank you. And that's it, guys. I hope everyone stays well. Remember, peace and hair grease, and as always, be nice.